Welcome back to Ascension with V. I'm your host, Stashia Jeanette, aka V. And today I'm going to talk about something that is kind of going to be like a little hodgepodge of things, a slight story time, but also in answering some repetitive questions that I've had about my health stuff, particularly from one of my most viewed videos, my life after total colectomy video. It's got something like 16,000 views and a bunch of comments where people are wanting to know, what my frequency is like now, what life is like about it, what life is like now currently, how I'm dealing with it after it was the 2014 when I had my total colectomy. My ileorectal anastomosis is what I had done, and the process of kind of that where I'm at now here going into 2026. So I'm going to answer a few of the questions from there, and I'm going to talk about, you guys have been asking me about the endometriosis, where I'm at with that, and you've been asking about my progression with learning about hEDS, hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and what I'm doing with that, and essentially how things have changed for me, my eating habits, my dietary changes, and my mental health, and just in general, and also kind of what it's like bringing everything together with like this, the mental aspect of the spiritual aspect. Has the spirituality played a part in any of the things? So we're going to go over all of that right now, and so I'll just dive in. Again, I got my notes and I'll try to cover as much as possible. If I need to make this a two-part thing, I will, but let's just get into it. So one of the most requested questions that I've had as far as life after my total colectomy is the frequency. How often am I going to the bathroom now? So the context of it is essentially I wasn't going to the bathroom at all. I was having zero bowel movements, and I was being impacted. I was getting impacted and having to go to the ER for clean outs, and they were throwing lactulose and tons of things that should have made me blow out the entire hospital's bathroom, and nothing was happening. So now, years and years later, after having, how long has that been? 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So this is like 10 years now since I've had my surgery, and the frequency still depends upon how much I'm drinking. That's liquid, right? So I try to incorporate these drinks called Kate Farms Soul Nutrition. Not sponsored, by the way, but Kate Farms, if you want to sponsor your girl, hit me up. I try to incorporate a Kate Farms Soul Nutrition drink at least once throughout my day. But the caveat to that is that my body processes it as like just liquid, like a just liquid food or what have you. And so when I am having just liquids, my frequency is up to at least 2 to 3 more times throughout the day. My normal frequency without drinking a Kate Farms or having a smoothie or anything like that is usually like 1 or 2 times a day. And the consistency of it is just, it's like mushy, like mashed potato consistency. Sorry, again, you guys, if this is not your thing, if you don't want to know about it, then just click out. But there's a lot of people who do need this information, so this is what it is. But if I drink Kate Farms, if I drink a smoothie, if I'm drinking, say I have soup or some other kind of liquidy form of food, it's 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a day, and it's liquidy. So I'm still having to try to find that happy medium between how much am I going to drink, especially if I've got to be out of the house during the day a lot. So that's something to take in consideration. Again, I take this having to kind of figure out my schedule and what I'm going to eat based upon my schedule, on whether or not I need to be out of the house a lot or if I can stay home throughout the day, mostly over being impacted, being so sick, having to go to the ER, looking like I'm carrying quadruplets in my stomach because I've not gone to the bathroom in 2 weeks, so it's not perfect, and it's I don't want to ever paint the persona or paint the picture that once you have this surgery, be it the total colectomy or the ileorectal anastomosis for slow transit motility or not, there will be things that are still difficult that you still have to adjust and adapt to and trial and error your way through, really. So I wish I could give kind of like a better answer to that. Everyone wants to know, what's the frequency like, and how often, and it just depends upon and again, whether or not what I'm eating has a lot high liquid content or not. Also, the next runner-up question has been about the staying hydrated. Staying hydrated is an absolute nightmare for me. I also have POTS, positional orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, and dysautonomia. So, I'm again 10 years out and I'm still trial and erroring it. I'm still trying to get it together. I'm still just now learning about hEDS and working with someone who specializes it. And it's a beast. It's a beast to conquer and understand, but they do try to incorporate things like the Noom tablets, NUUM tablets, or drip drop or element hydration sources to my diet, because water by itself is not it. It isn't sufficient enough. It doesn't hydrate adequately enough to sustain my body and its energetic needs, because with no colon, I'm not absorbing the liquid. I'm not getting a lot of my nutrition. So I am currently still battling with like malnutrition, not because like I'm just not eating, it's just because I'm not absorbing the nutrition because I have no colon. Because I have no colon, and also because of hEDS. It's again learning as I go. This is a part of it as well. So there's a lot of moving pieces to it. There's a lot of things that are making my hydration and my nutrition increasingly ever difficult for me to grapple with, to get a grasp and a handle on. And some of these things may be a non-factor for you guys of, if you don't have hEDS, if you don't have Ehlers-Danlos of any kind, if you don't have, POTS or any other thing that's contributing to your difficulty with holding and maintaining your hydration, and the only thing that you're dealing with is just the lack of colon, then you may be able to retain more hydration by, again, also incorporating some of the things, like I said, the Noom, the element hydration supplements, or the liquid IVs, or the Body Armor has also another thing is like a flash IV, the drink, or the powder packets. Those things could also be sufficient for you. But if you're like me and you also have, other layers of added complexity to the situation, then it's going to be, again, another process of the trial and error of kind of figuring out what does or does not work for you. Some people have what's resistant, what do they call it? Reactive POTS, and that's where, regardless if you wear the compression socks, like you still pass out because it's the lack of salt. You need more salt in your diet. And other people, is just that you don't need the salt, you just need the compression things. And again, trial and error to figure that out. There is no one size fits all in this situation for those of us who have POTS or dysautonomia or Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, of any of the 13 categories of the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Again, is something that I'm figuring out and finding out. Essentially, it's me, and I have, one occupational therapist that knows is very qualified with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and but outside of that, it's me, just figuring it out. And you guys have got to be your own biggest advocate for yourself, and document, write notes, keep track of what works for you and what does not, because ultimately doctors don't know either. I'm gonna keep it a $100. When I had my surgery and I got out of the hospital, they gave me a giant, like 50-page booklet of like things that I could no longer eat or tolerate. And I'm going to segue into the food and the diet after your total colectomy or your ileorectal anastomosis. And right now, and essentially I still don't eat a lot of things that are stringy because, again, I trial and errored it. I waited like about 5 to 7 months before trying it, but I used to like asparagus a lot, and it tore me up. It tore me up because it got like tangled, knotted, I guess, and my stomach didn't, because no colon. My stomach didn't break it down, and neither did my small intestines, and so the process of it trying to come out was brutal. Like I went to the ER in pain. I think I was in the hospital for a couple of days. Also, I don't know if this will be relevant for you guys, but don't eat poke. Those poke bowls also sent me to the hospital because it had like raw fish or something in it, and I'm not sure exactly what it was that was in the poke bowl. I was filming on set one time, and they ordered that for a lunch for all of the cast, and I had to film at like in like a 10 level pain, and it was rough. It was so rough. But that's another thing. Again, it was trial and error. I found out. I was like, well, can't do this. Lettuce. I can't eat lettuce of any kind. A lot of leafy things. I can't do it. It hurts, and it comes out the same way that you put it in. Know that a lot of the things that you guys eat will come out the same way that you put it in because your colon's not there to do its part in the digestive process. So when you think about what you're going to eat or what you're eating, it's important to keep that in mind of like, how is this going to feel coming out? Don't eat any raw vegetables. Raw vegetables are not your friends. Baby carrots and celery sticks used to be my go-to healthy snack. I mean, I love that with a passion. And again, because I'm like, I'll just try this. I waited about a year and a half at this point to try and eat baby carrots again, just raw baby carrots. And again, 10 level pain, went to the ER, don't recommend it. I also have tried recently again, like I'd say over the last 2 years ago, I tried it, don't recommend it, still hurt, still was rough, still ended up having to, I had to take pain medicine for a while with that. Didn't go to the hospital, but I did have to take pain medicine for it. So raw vegetables are no longer your friends. They may be a healthy snack, but if you want to eat veggies, steam them. You have got to make sure that they're soggy, so soggy. Like when I first had the surgery and I had to steam my veggies, I was so deflated because I was like, this is like baby food. And it is. It's an adjustment. You got to get used to the texture in your mouth, but your stomach and your intestines will thank you for the process because again, you don't have the heavy hitter to help you break it down and digest, and it's unfortunate that essentially you have to put it in your mouth the way that your stomach and colon would have it before it reaches your rectum to come out. Yeah. Again, always keep in the forefront of your mind that the way that you put it in your mouth is the way that it will essentially come out. So to alleviate the pain, the terrible pain of the digestion process when you're eating food, try to eliminate your raw vegetables. Try to eliminate things that are stringy. Try to eliminate lettuce and leafy greens. Try to eliminate popcorn. Look, I know red meat, we can't break it down. We can't break it down without listen, you guys can trial and error it on yourselves, but I'm just telling you, I did the things so that you don't have to. I did the things so that you all do not have to do it. Red meats, for anybody, red meat is hard. Even if you have a colon, it's hard on your stomach. It's really hard to digest and break down. Even if you are doing the like 100 chews before swallowing method, it's still hard on your stomach and intestines to break down. So imagine it without the colon to help do its heavy lifting in the process of digestion. Really, it's brutal. It hurts. It hurts the entire way through. So yeah, you guys, again, do what you want. Try it out for yourself. After you're past the 1 year mark on your surgery and recovery, wait until you can fill your butthole before you try eating red meat again. Really, honestly, because it'll give you a false sense of hope. It'll give you a false sense of hope. If you eat things that you think you can eat while your lower part of your intestines and rectum is still numb from the nerves being cut through the surgery, That also got me. I was like, "Oh, this is great. I can do this." But then it's it's just because I couldn't feel it. And then once I could feel it, I was like, "Oh, okay, that's not good." Um, yeah, so adjust your diet as need be, and really please make a note, make a little journal, food log journal for yourself on what you tried to eat and what the reaction or result was from eating it, and like date it, and I'm trying to make it as detailed as possible. When you go to have a bowel movement, write down how the bowel movement was. Was it painful? What was the consistency? How often did you go? Because ultimately, you have to be your own doctor. You have to be your own nurse. You have to be your own detective to figure things out for yourself. And it will save you a lot of headache and heartache and frustration down the line once you get 2 years, 3 years out and you're no longer really dealing with like the pain, but now you have to deal with figuring out your frequency schedule, figuring out what you're going to eat and what reactions you're going to have with eating in the future when you want to get back to a regular lifestyle, be it going back to work or working out or going on trips, whatever the case may be. Going on trips, segueing into that next question that I've gotten a lot is, how do you travel? I travel the same way, whether it's in town or out of town, out of state, out of the country. I keep a bag on me. I keep a bag on me. I keep a bag with like panty liners and pads. I keep a bag packed with lidocaine for booty numbing. I have booty cream. It's not what it's called. It's called Coloplast moisture barrier, but I get the clear kind because otherwise you're gonna have kind of like white balmy stuff on your butt, and that's not a good look, especially if you forget, and you're trying to be intimate with somebody, and then, it's like, ew, what is this? What is this white paint on your butt? So yeah, Coloplast moisture barrier is a godsend. Usually for the first year, your frequency and consistency is usually just water. That's how mine was, and it was like very frequent, and I had to wear active Depends for like a year and a half, which was great. As a 24-year-old, I was really going through it. My mental health was terrible. I was I was I was struggling with that. 23 and wearing diapers is rough, but it doesn't stay that way. Just so you know, just to give you the glimmer of hope. But while you're going through that, after you first have your surgery, it's really important to keep the moisture barrier applied frequently, keep the lidocaine cream applied frequently, and to dab with toilet paper and not wipe. Don't do this, because then you're making the rawness even more raw, and then the burning even more burning each time that you go, and is not good, is not a good look, it's not a good feeling. It's awful to have to deal with that. And again, that's not something that nurses told me or that doctors told me. It's, again, I just found out by myself, and I had to learn to overcome and adapt on my own with that. So please just dab your butt after you go to the bathroom, and get you some flushable booty wipes. And also, same thing, dab with it. Dab with those, and get a sitz bath. A sitz bath, if you don't have like a regular bathtub that you can just soak your butt in, and if you can afford one of the bidets that just attach to your toilet seat. I mean, if you want to get the expensive one as well, that's fine. If you got it, go ahead. But if you don't got it, they have like pretty cheap ones that you can get, or you can just get a handheld shower attachment that has the thing. Get one that has filter. I use it's called Cobe. Also not sponsored, but it's like a Cobe, COB shower head. It's got like a filter, like a water filter in the handle, and you can change the settings on it. And there's like a bidet setting. That's not what it is, y'all. Listen to that's not really what it is, but it's just good. Like, you hose your butt after you use the bathroom, which will also save you a lot of butt pain during your first year of recovery after your surgery. to just be able to, rinse with the water instead of having to wipe and add to the rawness or the pain or whatever the case may be. But going back to the bag, in my bag, I keep a change of underwear. For the first year, you want to keep some active Depends on you. Also in your little go bag, your moisture barrier, your lidocaine, a change of underwear, a change of pants, and pads or panty liners or tampons if you have a uterus and are still having periods. I also have, what is this called? A modal to like stop your bowel movements for a little while. Like if you're just having frequent bathroom trips, then you can take a Lomotil before you either get on the road for your road trip or before you get on the plane. I take like 2 Lomotils before I get on a plane. I'm not gonna lie, because it's sometimes you can't avoid it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just can't avoid. But like, I don't sit on public toilets if I can help it. I have the little toilet seat. Oh, that's another thing. The toilet seat covers. I have a little pack of toilet seat covers that I bring with me and a pack of Clorox wipes because the OCD is insane. So that's what I would do is I would take my I have like a little oak crossbody little satchel, and if I'm on the plane, I'll pack the toilet seat covers and the Clorox wipes and my pads, moisture barrier. I have a smaller, like it's like a 3-ounce bottle and like a bigger bottle of the moisture barrier, and I'll pack my 3-ounce bottle in my little satchel for on the plane. So when I'm in the bathroom, I can just apply that and do all the things, or clean the toilet seat and put the toilet seat cover on it so that you can sit. There's also, I have a to-go bidet by Tushy, and it collapses down and it attaches to my bag. I highly recommend that. The to-go bidet, you just fill it up with water and you just squirt, and it hoses your butt off. And that thing has been a lifesaver on a couple of trips that I've gone on, and I had to use it in the plane. So, or just like in a bathroom in general. So you got the cleanliness without having to chafe your butt in the process. And that's what I keep in my to-go bag. The Lomotil is a lifesaver for going on trips. People ask me that frequently. How do you travel? Lomotil, and my go bag. I think that's pretty much it about the life after total colectomy questions. Those were the big hitters. Those are the biggest things that people have been asking me about. And if I did not cover anything, you guys know what to do. Leave me some comments in the ask your questions in the comment section, and I'll be sure to answer them just as I have in the previous life after total colectomy videos. But now I'm going to segue into the questions about the hEDS, living with hEDS, learning about my hEDS and what it is for me, what it's like for me. And that in itself, again, like I said, has been its own separate beast. I made that documentary in 2023 called Diagnosis Uncertain. If you've not seen it, it is on my page, or you can just search it on YouTube. And at that time, I did not know that I had hEDS. Like, when I was up at the specialty hospitals, and they were very adamant at like, no, you don't have Crohn's disease, you don't have Crohn's. But I was having all these, stomach things, and of course the slow transit motility, which led to me having my colon taken out. But they were like, it's not the Crohn's, like your colon doesn't work, because they never wanted to say the word gastroparesis, but like literally nothing happened when they did the SITS marker test. None of the rings left my colon because my colon didn't work. So like, I don't know what else to call that. Like but gastroparesis, slow transit motility, gastric paralysis type situations fall under the house of Ehlers-Danlos, regardless what subtype you may or may not have. And there was one, I also got diagnosed up at this hospital where they were telling me that I had POTS and dysautonomia. At one point in time, they did kind of tell me like, oh, well, you're just, you're bendy, you're flexible. But again, times were different. Like 2013, 2012, 2013, and 2014, hEDS and Ehlers-Danlos was not like as what am I trying to say, medically accepted as it is now. like, doctors still kind of thought that it was like a woo thing or like it was like a cop out or it wasn't really they didn't legitimize it. For lack of better words, they just didn't legitimize it, and so instead of them being like, "Oh, yeah, like, this is probably the thing that you're dealing with. This might be the primary culprit of your issues." They just continued to let me go on this wild goose hunt of, trying to figure out what was happening with my body and making me feel like I was insane. So another thing that people have asked me about is my mental health because it was not great. It literally was not great because everybody was making me feel like I was crazy about the things that were happening in my body. Like, I constantly felt like I was going insane because I was feeling all of this pain in every inch of my body. My muscles were on fire. My head was hurting. I was sensitive to light, and my skin felt like it was bursting into a ball of flames every time I would go outside in the sun. I was passing out every time the temperature got above 70 degrees. I couldn't stand in lines at all. I kept passing out. It just so much was happening to me and nobody was giving me any straight answers. It was just a lot of runaround. It was just a lot of like, oh, well, no, your anxiety is the anxiety, your anxiety. Like, a lot of things were just cast off as anxiety, and it's like, so here's some more pills for this. And the decision for me to come off of all of the medication was probably the best decision I've ever made in my entire life. Ultimately, again, if you guys have not seen Diagnosis Uncertain, you should probably go and watch that so you can get the kind of back context to this. I'm not going to rehash and recap it now because it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. But just to kind of brief it, I was on like something like 25 different medications at one point, and I was so disconnected from my body, and everything was causing side effects. And it's kind of like I was just waiting for spontaneous combustion. But like whenever I would ask about coming off of medications, nobody wanted to take me off because they were like, oh, you've been on these medications for so long now, like it's just dangerous for you to come off of it, or, the process of coming off of it's going to be difficult and this, that, and the third, and blah, blah, blah. But then also, in the notes talking about this patient is highly, highly probable for spontaneous combustion at any moment due to medication overlap or what have you. Again, don't know the medical term for it, but like, it was such a hot mess, and so I had to kind of make the decision for myself. Okay, well, if I'm facing certain death either way, whether I stay on the medicine or whether I try to come off of it, I'd rather take my chances trying to come off of it and trying to let my body have a fighting chance of healing itself, and at least try to go out knowing who I am and what my body's like for once in this lifetime. And that's what I did. And so once I made that decision, God Source Universe backed me on it and led me through the process of doing it. Now listen, I'm not co-signing nobody to come off of their own medicine. This is just my story. This is my journey. This is what I did, and this is how I'm here currently right now. But it wasn't easy. It was not easy. I went through a long period of psychosis, like for about 2 years, and I had to go through learning what my mind was like at its ground zero and like understanding this is my neurodivergency and then accepting that and relearning my mind. And that was a crazy experience in itself, relearning what it was like to be me and who am I, like it was really like me, like, oh my God, I have this body, and it was interesting. It was a whole process of me relearning what I looked like, relearning what my body felt like, and realizing that a lot of my body I could not feel because I had been in so much pain for so long that my body just kind of shut it off. your body does a thing when you're experiencing so much pain or trauma in one area that it like disconnects, like it senses from whatever is causing the trigger or the pain. For me, that was my entire body. So literally over the last couple of months, I've been working with tapping back in and visualizing my body. I was given an exercise to visualize my head down to my neck, and I couldn't do it because I didn't know what I looked like, and then once I got past that point of being able to look myself in the mirror without being like afraid because psychosis from before, right? But once I got past that point and I realized what I looked like and I could visualize myself when I closed my eyes and I'm like, oh, okay, this is what I look like. Then it was starting with okay, now go down from neck to shoulders to torso, from torso to waist, from waist to thighs, from thighs to knees, from knees to shins to ankle and feet. But like when I started working with my occupational therapist recently, I could not feel 99% of the muscles that she was trying to get me to engage. Because when we went to do the visualization of that part of my body, I couldn't see it. Literally, I couldn't see it. And that's hEDS. That's what hEDS has done. It's like the constant level of being disconnected from your body because it hurts, it hurts. And that was one of the things that I got hit with after I came out of my like psychosis mental breakdown from detoxing from all the medications that I was on, was the immense amount of pain. When I tell you guys that like I'm in a good bit of pain most of the time. For me, I can tolerate up to like a 5 or a 6 of pain. Like once it hits 7.5, there's some things that I'm not going to be able to do, but it's a lot, and I cried a lot because it was realizing, oh my God, this is what my body has been going through all along. And I was pushing it and I was forcing myself to try to function and be quote unquote normal when I'm not. And that's why every year something was getting broken or dislocated or something was happening with me because I was pushing my body beyond its limits, but I just couldn't feel it. So people with hEDS, we don't feel when we're, subluxed or when we have dislocated a joint or when, we're pushing our joints beyond the normal range of bend or movement until essentially we've gone too far and now it's like popped out of place completely where it's just a dislocation or something of this nature, right? And so what I have been doing recently is trying to work on my proprioception with my body, and that is the connection, the mind to body connection of myself, of my joints. And a lot of the things that I'm doing currently right now is, working on muscles that are supposed to be carrying the weight of certain body parts. Like for instance, right now it's my shoulder and my arm, and apparently my traps have been doing my trapezoid muscles have been carrying the weight of like my arm, and now I'm learning to have my arm muscles do the work for supporting and carrying it. And I feel like I'm carrying a bowling ball around because my muscles are so weak. Even though I've been doing strengthening, the muscles that I have been using to do my strength training were not my arm muscles. They were like the referred muscles in my traps or in my upper back. Same with when I'm doing things for trying to stand, I'm like hyperextending my knees. So I haven't been using the right muscles that are supposed to be supporting my legs and knees. And so my legs, I'm having to relearn how to do squats the right way while using the right muscles. And it's overwhelming to say the least. I have a body braid. I have a video on the Body Braid's website of the first time that I put the body braid on, and it does help. It's essentially like what it sounds like. It's a full body brace to help kind of with the proprioception, the awareness of the movement of the muscles, of where am I at in space kind of situation, know where my muscles are when I'm moving, and to kind of like stop me from going out of bounds or moving too far. I'm still kind of like not able to do much with this arm because apparently I had severely injured my collarbone and for some time, and it has been dislocated for some time, and my occupational therapist put it back in place recently. And so now it feels like a limp noodle because again, I haven't been using the muscles to support my arm the right way. So a little bit of a struggle trying to do the things, but essentially when I'm wearing the body braid, it comes up over the shoulders, and sometimes I'll have one of the straps over here, like right here on the upper part of the shoulder or arm. And when I move, it'll kind of prevent me from moving my arm too far back or forward to prevent it from having a subluxation or a partial dislocation of the joint. So what people with hEDS have is muscle tightness and joint weakness, joint elasticity. So it's our muscles that are holding our joints in place instead of the joint itself holding itself in place. Our joints are too lax. Our joints are too loose. And the connective tissue is from the head to the toe. So everything that has connective tissue can be affected by your Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And that us using our muscles constantly to hold ourselves in is why we have so much fatigue. And again, working with my therapist, it's been so reassuring and refreshing to know that like my constant exhaustion and fatigue isn't just what doctors have been saying, like, oh, it's just in your head. It's just in your head. You're just making it up. It's just your anxiety. You're exhausted because you're anxious all the time. No, it's because my effing muscles are having to work overdrive to try and prevent my joints from subluxing and dislocating and popping out whenever I'm just trying to relax. 99% of the time that I've gotten hurt, it's been when I was just like sitting in a bathtub or laying in bed, is because again, my muscles relaxed and then everything was just like pop, and that's the nature of it. It's not that injuries don't occur when you are active, but more than likely the times that a subluxation happens is when you're trying to relax, while you're sleeping, while you're hanging out, whatever the case may be. And that's just how that's just how it's been. That's just been the situation for me of learning to adapt to my limitations and being okay with that. If I could tell you guys anything, it's to honor your body and listen to its cues, listen to its signals. This goes beyond the physical and even into to the spiritual realm of, your spiritual gifts and abilities. Your body's constantly talking to you all the time, whether or not you have spiritual gifts or not. When there's something wrong, it will send a signal, and it's up to you to be able to pay attention to the signals and to respond to it accordingly. And for a long time, I wasn't doing that with my body physically because, again, I was trying to fit into a world that was not made for me. I was trying to force myself to perform and to show up as normal, quote unquote, as possible for others. But I was just beating myself down. I was just running myself ragged. I was just causing myself more harm than good. And so there are days, again, where my energy is just not there and I'm not able to do a lot. And I also have a lot of rebound kind of, I don't know what to call it, like fallout from, I'm like, oh, I feel good today, or because I had my body braid on and I did something and I did too much. And then like 2 days later, my body's super hurting and I have no energy and I'm down for like a week and a half. You've got to learn yourself, learn your mind, learn your body, learn what does and does not work for you across the board. Otherwise, you're going to continue to stay on the rat wheel, the hamster wheel of confusion, of frustration, of anger, of exhaustion, of feeling bad about yourself, because there's no answers and you don't know what's happening. I can honestly say that the best decision that I've ever made was to learn myself, to get back in touch with my body, to come off of my medications and to figure out my because this wasn't doctors. Doctors didn't do this. I'm not 100% and I may never be. But I'm not at -10. I'm not at -50. And for me, that's a win. For me to be in the positive at all right now after spending 27 years plus in the negative, this is a win. This is a win for me to be able to know myself, to get to know my quirks and my neurodivergency and my mind and how awesome my body has been despite all the things that were going on, to be able to bounce back and to have the resiliency to keep going. I'm glad that I listened to my intuition. I'm glad that I listened to God's source universe. I'm glad that I kept fighting regardless how many times doctors told me that it wouldn't be possible. I'm glad that I kept going because I really love myself and I love my body and I love what's becoming of me because I chose to keep going, because I chose to keep fighting, regardless how many times I wanted to stop and when I wanted to give up and I wanted to end it. I've never been as content and peaceful with myself and my life and my body than I am right now. So I'm telling you this right now with tears falling down my face in sincerity over the fact of it doesn't matter what your diagnosis is. It doesn't matter what you go through. It doesn't matter how long you stay down, as long as you get back up and you don't give up on yourself. You don't give up the fight. That you believe in yourself, that you believe in your ability to bounce back, because your body can do it as long as your mind is in alignment with it. I believed when God Source Universe asked me if I trusted it, I said yes because that's all I had. Do you know what I mean? I have a new documentary coming out soon. It's in the works, and I go into detail about this more, and I hope that you guys will tune into it when it comes out. But this was a win for me. This is a win for me. And again, it's not 100%, but it's damn sure not where I was at. And if you don't take anything from this entire thing, if you made it this far, I'm proud of y'all. But if you don't take anything from this thing, know that healing is possible if you want it bad enough. And that's what I've got for you guys. I hope this was helpful. Thank you all for tuning in. And if you have any more questions about anything, whether it be the health stuff, whether it be the life after total colectomy, whether it be the spirituality aspect of things, whether you want to work with me, whether you want to just talk about the things, whatever the case may be, hit me up. Leave me a comment. You can find me also on Instagram, Ascension Oracle V LLC. And yeah, don't forget, you can get the New Earth Guidebook to Healing and Ascension on Amazon and apply to work one-on-one with me or book a recorded reading with me. All the things are in the description box below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. V Squad.